What's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Chasing Orlando. This is season 2, episode 10, the season finale. Or is it the series finale? We'll discuss that in a few minutes. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe if you are new and leave your comments below. Let's get into this episode. All right, so you heard me. This is the season finale, possibly the series finale. I have my thoughts because I'm going to give my final thoughts at the end of this episode. I think this New Orleans trip, the last week's episode and this week's episode, I think kind of made up for some of the more drier episodes. And all I saw was a lot more fun, even though there was some drama, some stuff I don't understand. However, we start off with Max and Pablo, as we did on last week. There was a cliffhanger there as both of them were expressing how they feel and how they feel like that they have been wrong. Pablo got his say as to how he felt like Max was cutting him off, or because if I'm reaching out to you, you're not reaching out to me, da 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 da. Even though Max said the same thing. So with that's between them. That's a more he said, she said type of thing. Both weren't reaching out to each other at some point. And the other felt the way about each other, and it looks like, look, I'm gonna do you on you. That's what my take is as far as all that. Pablo got into, I don't know how they got on that, but even with Pablo, I guess recently, is dealing with some domestic violence situation. All I know is I started tearing up, and not just from Pablo's situation, it was Max too, making me tear up, and then the person of where a plot twist came from. Marlo was being the voice of reason and shockingly taking up for Max, even in her cousin. She wasn't bashing Pablo or whatever, but she gave her own experience of coming home and finding her grandmother unalived on the floor. She knows how she is when she is dealing with grief. She's got into other arguments and has shut people out. Marlo also said in regards to how she doesn't really want to think about her grandmother because she doesn't want to cry. She feels like that's weak. I feel like that's more of her environment that has made her that way as far as how she grew up. Because if you go back to how her dad has treated her, has bullied her, I think that's a testament to that. And then, look, it's not like she was living in, and this is not to bring down your neighborhood at all. You weren't living in Beverly Hills 90210. So, and then you are black, you are gay, and you are trans. She's had a lot up against her. So of course she has to be strong in a different way because people just can't really grasp someone wanting to transition from being a male to a female. So anyways, she said some of that, and I'm adding my own little thing to it. So she encouraged Pablo to give a little grace as far as someone who's grieving. Of course, Pablo has said before that he's lost his father. We've also heard Max talk about it's just not his father passing, it's the drama. I know 100% how that feels. I know how that feels. And you're fighting battles that you didn't even know you had to fight. But you love your family, you love your dad. And you gotta take some punches that you didn't want to take, and step up and be something that you didn't know that you weren't even prepared for it. You didn't even know or expecting that to happen. I know how that feels, and I didn't even think I was gonna cry. I did tear up during that scene, no, I didn't know I was gonna cry. But anyways, I think that you should be respected to Pablo in this situation. I think that you both are I think you guys are kind of just the same people, the same persons. You and Max needing the same things, and y'all didn't know how to really be there for each other. Or at the slightest little thing, it was kind of a trigger that, no, I don't think I can really trust you. I think I'm good on you, you know, or something, because like, I don't know. That's what it felt like. But yeah, I was totally shocked at Marlo and how she was handling that situation. All I gotta say is that kudos to you, Marlo, and you know I've just been giving you the blues for 9 straight episodes. Deserving. I don't take anything back, but at least we can show something different from you. I'll say that much. But AO said, I think that you two need to have a conversation alone and all of that, because within this group it's probably not going to be worked out. B Baby went on to list who his favorites and who his least favorites. Each one were double. Marlo and Pablo are his favorites, shockingly enough, since her platform was the one that started the whole drug situation. But anyways, however, they got to a good place. His least favorite, or at least was, he said, was Max and Mark. B Baby still thinks that there is another conversation between him and Mark that needs to happen. They speak a little bit about what Max did as far as telling AO what's up. As far as him using drugs. He says that, I seen your text, I acknowledge your text. With me trying to deal with stuff with my father, I really didn't have time to really sit down to really respond back to you about it. I think that there will be a conversation a little bit later. Then B Baby starts to make jokes about the 8-ball situation. Max said, I'd never said 8-ball. Then they start talking about all this telephone stuff. I cringed. B Baby, as you tried to make light of it. I'm not saying that you have a drug problem. I'm not saying that whatsoever. I don't know if laughing it off is the right thing to do. But I also know how drugs are weaponized. It started out as it being a weapon. What people are honing in is that Max is not being a good friend. And you sold him out. I've already said Max is wrong. But I'm just trying to figure out why Max is the major issue out of this whole situation, in my opinion. Because it's like, okay, yes, and we want loyal people because Max expects loyalty or whatever. So, for me, this is what I like to do. I like to stay on my own street if I'm watching shows or stuff like this. Yesterday, I actually I went around and started skirting the streets. And I started seeing stuff about, okay, Chasing Orlando is canceled. There is no reunion. I'm like, what? A lot of things I feel like people are just making up for headlines. That's my initial reaction. So I started listening to a few lives. And about the whole situation with B Baby, because I don't want to talk about it again. If there's no reunion, this is crazy, if there's no reunion. But anyway, what I learned, and this is per Marlo, a lot of this stuff got kicked up at the pool party that she had. It was discussed. Max was silent. Somehow, I'm still confused as when she was talking. But anyways, about the whole drug situation, she ended up calling Pablo and AO about it. At that point, I think I'm still confused. AO had told her. But anyways, Pablo found out, which I believe was through Marlo. Marlo says that Pablo told B Baby. Now it's all about the time sequence of when B Baby found out from Pablo. Because what I'm thinking is B Baby knew at that Stop the Violence rally, B Baby was going to bring it up. Hence why Max feels like it was a setup. That's my thinking. I don't know everything. I'm going by what is now being in my face about the whole situation. I'm like, yes, I understand. Max should have been ride or die. Like, even in that conversation, he should have shut it down. Not just sit there and just be quiet. Maybe because you actually know it's true. Maybe you just didn't feel like defending it. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how you felt. Maybe because you saw him crying about it, acting like someone's picking on him. And then to see him do it afterwards, I don't know your feelings in regards to that, Max. Again, at least right there, I would have shut it down. Especially with B Baby not being there. That's crazy. So if that's true, and I'm going by Marlo, she said that she's not a liar. But anyways, it does feel like it was set up. Whom all was involved in it, I don't know. But some people were playing their parts. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to move off of that. Anything else happen? Now everybody's kind of having fun, and we're seeing two sets of roommates making breakfast. Who was it? AO and someone else? Oh, Chef Pablo. Well, let me get. Yeah, we can go there. Chef Pablo. Pablo was not prepared to make breakfast, but anyway, since he was asked, he chipped in and helped. They made a good breakfast, and then next thing you know, Cali Boy shows up. Of course, we knew that something happened, and Cali Boy wasn't, and then I was confused for a long time as to what was the beef between Pablo and Cali Boy. But let me back up, because Chef said something in regards to Max being connected to Cali Boy. And somehow now he's hooked up with Lucifer. I would really like to know what the issue is between Pablo and Cali Boy. I don't think that we got the full context of even what you said in the last episode about Cali Boy, so I'm like, I don't know. I guess Pablo feels the way that Max being in communication with Cali Boy or looking like they're buddies or something. I don't know. Anyways, to fast forward, Cali Boy comes in. We find out later on that Cali Boy is just talking about, I know y'all needed me here because nothing was really happening. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's basically how that flow was. The king is here, and Pablo had a problem with that. I guess it was breakfast time, and it looked like they had to halt things to wait for somebody to come in. I guess production was saying, wait for him to come, and then next thing you know, there's this verbal altercation between both Cali Boy and Pablo. There was some talk about besties and brothers and stuff. I don't know if that was besties and brothers was between him and Max, as far as what Cali was referencing and what Pablo was responding to, or him and Cali Boy. Brothers fight? Yeah, we brothers, we fight. I don't know, because the confessional don't, his indie confessional doesn't seem like there's much hope for him and Max. That's what I'm thinking. But anyways, AO had to get in Cali's face a little bit as a brother and like chill out. He said he was doing too much, being extra. Anyways, we see them out on the streets. They're in their red dresses and all that good stuff. Again, the red dress run is for charity and all that. So kudos to them for doing it. I don't have no complaints because everybody looks how they want to look for the red dress run. I just don't feel like knocking people's looks. Now, if there was a reunion, I would have had my usual segment, glam or scram, but I don't know about this reunion thing. But anyways, Mark and B-Baby, they had the next turn in making breakfast. They go to Walmart, B-Baby even twerks in front of him. It seemed like that scene was awkward. I think Mark felt out of place. He said in his confessional, it felt good to be alone with him and all that good stuff. But still something was still portrayed, at least from what was given to us off the screen, as like something's wrong here. But maybe because of how things went in that conversation, I don't know. They make the breakfast pretty good. Fabio comes. I guess he had been missing before. What happened is that he was on his way to breakfast the other day. He had a wardrobe malfunction. He was trying to do something, fix something. He was late for breakfast. There was nothing saved for him. And he was pissed about that and went on his way. He came there to apologize and also eat this breakfast. Was there anything else that happened? Oh, Pablo. That may have been at the other breakfast, but maybe at this breakfast. Then wants to speak to Mark in front of the group about how he was carrying on. I guess Mark, at that point, was really drunk, and they were out on Bourbon Street or whatever street, and he started asking a lot of intrusive questions, especially for somebody that you don't know. He was asking, okay, were your children a mistake? I would have been like, Ninja, what are you talking about? I don't think that's even to my close friends, I would never ask that. No. I guess that was your way of trying to connect in some type of way. For me, I'm the type of person, even in getting to know someone, tread lightly. Tread lightly with me, because I'm treading lightly with you, as far as what I even disclose to you. We just getting to know each other. And there was another question about his sexuality and him now coming out and all that stuff. I said, oh. Like, that's a lot. Now, did the conversation need to be had? Yes. Mark felt like he was really thrown off because he doesn't remember any of that. I kind of believe it, but then I kind of don't. And the reason I don't believe it is because of how he's playing the situation with B-Baby about this ex-boyfriend. And then he say something to B-Baby about, oh, no, here. He was like, he apologized and whatnot, but in his confessionals, he was like, I don't have anything against you, I'm really wanting to be like you. What do you mean? And those are the questions you ask? Like, that was a little bit odd to me. And possibly you can explain it at a different time. Give us context on what you're talking about. Because it's like, look, the way you try to get to know me, again, start slowly and we'll move abroad. Don't do all that. I do think that Pablo should have took him to the side, because that felt, and I don't know what your intent was, but that felt like you wanted to embarrass him. That's just how it looked, Pablo. And I gotta say that. It felt like you wanted to embarrass him in front of the group. And I do think that you should have dealt with it, and you needed to have a conversation with him. But anyways, you wanted to check him. Does it feel like that was just drunken stupor? But truth comes out when you are drunk. And because of people that you hang around, Gemini, could that have been influenced as far as how you were talking? And the reason that I have all these questions is because we don't really know you, Mark. We've seen you in a couple places. So, hey, you're liable to be picked apart, and until there's some clarity and we get to know you a little bit better, we're putting that on the table. Next, they're going to a distillery. Oh, but wait, no, Fabio. Fabio has a conversation with Max. Cali Boy, Max, and B-Boy, they first had their conversation, and Cali Boy's going on about who's a friend. He said that he doesn't have any friends in this group. Associates, but how he looks as a friend is somebody that you would say the last time you smashed someone. Things of that nature. You know my mom. Things of that nature. Like, you've actually met her and you've been in her presence and stuff like that. Cool, whatever. They talk a little bit about before Cali Boy got there. So next thing you know, Fabio needs to meet up with Max. Fabio got word from Rashida that Max was saying to Cali Boy, or that Fabio did not like Cali Boy. Of course, that's not true. And Max was thrown off like, Rashida? Rashida wasn't there. Fabio clarified things because it seemed like Max went to Rashida to tell her about Cali Boy. No. What happened was, Cali Boy got the message from Max. Max went to Rashida, and then Rashida went to Fabio. Now, I don't understand why Cali Boy didn't go to Fabio and decided to do all this telephone stuff. It's just a lot, y'all. Y'all be playing the telephone game, and it don't even be right, in my opinion. Like, Lord, I don't know why Cali Boy did all that. But Max said that's not the total context of everything. He was saying what happened was in a conversation about least favorite and all that stuff, and Cali Boy asked, well, who was I? Who didn't like me? And he said, well, Fabio did mention you, but you weren't the only one. It was Pablo too, but it wasn't in a malicious way. So it got twisted and turned upside down. Shout out to Fresh Prince. Twisted and turned upside down. But all of a sudden now Rashida it got messy for no reason. Max is not at fault. I don't even think that somebody was going to tell Cali Boy eventually, I guess. I mean, Ayo is brothers with him, so I'm sure something would have came up about it. But yeah, I didn't like that Cali Boy went to anyone else about it. That's just crazy. Go to Fabio. Now you've been having all of these IG messages about the whole situation. So it's like, okay. They go to the distillery and they get their bourbon and all that good stuff. Max does pull Mark to the side just to see how you're doing. Now, I just thought you would be one of the last people to do that, Max. But I don't know. Maybe production said, pull him to the side, see what's up. I don't know. I think someone else should have came up to you, Cali Boy at least. But he just wanted to make sure he was good. Of course, Mark is treading lightly because look, last week, the last conversation we had, you were blowing me under the bus and making everything so confusing about the boyfriend. I still stand by it. I think that you had a lot of issues with a possibility that B-Baby was messing with your boyfriend, your ex-boyfriend, that you're territorial over, but think that he would stoop so low to sleep with a stripper. That you could really say is like prostitution, as I said in last week's episode. Be territorial, I get this, whatever. The next thing is a murder mystery thing. I'm not gonna go into it, but I really enjoyed it, and I love the fun that y'all were having, so it just let me know at how this group could have been from the beginning. Of course there's gotta be mess. This is a reality show, it's gotta be drama. So, yeah, I really love that. Yeah, again, New Orleans was really good. Y'all really did that with the whole murder mystery game. Now, let me talk about the season. I'm not that upset about the season. I have some pros and I have some cons. My pros outweigh my cons, though. Con number one is the lateness of the episodes. Second is the unfulfilled stories, or there's no follow through of stuff and we're just left kind of out there to kind of figure things out on our own or just say whatever. The executive producers were on a live that I listened to yesterday, and they were saying that there were things that were proposed by the cast members, certain ones. They said they want to do this and they're going to talk about this. They started and then they don't want to do it anymore. Then there's supposed to allegedly friction between the two executive producers. Again, I'm just learning all this on yesterday. I'm sure a lot of y'all knew about this beforehand, but I really do, for the most part, just stick to myself. I do like to venture out now more to just see what other reviewers are saying about this. I've only really seen 3 people or 3 different channels reviewing it until yesterday when I started just going out there just to see what's out there in the YouTube streets. So yeah, that's how I am. Possibly I need to venture out a lot more, but I just feel like it keeps me more authentic, not knowing all the crap that's going on, and if I stick to the show. Even though the show may not have made sense to a lot of people, and I didn't even know that people felt a certain way about this season. Some people feel like last season was better than this season. I don't think so, but that's just me. My pros is you really had a strong start. I think episodes 1 through 5, they were really strong. After the Keep the Peace or Stop the Violence rally, then things kind of just went. With Marlo's story, it was starting to pick up a little bit more. But New Orleans kind of just helped pick up that weight that we were feeling, because a lot of people weren't filming and a lot of people were just saying stuff to each other. It wasn't as enjoyable and it got dry. But I think your season is a lot better than season 6 of Dallas. Dallas was stuck in a loop on the same 2 issues and was very race baited. Not much chasing was going on. So it's just like, how do we know? So then I saw the message of Mr. Ondario. He was talking about he was ready to cancel the whole season after seeing episode 1. But he said he didn't want to do that to his cast and all that good stuff. So I'm like, Lord, what's going on? And although the executive producer said, no, there's going to be a reunion. But people are still adamant after that, stating there's not going to be a reunion. And possibility of a canceled show. Orlando has a lot of potential. I think that as a whole, they just need to come together and get tighter at how to run this show, because you have all of the ingredients there. I'm telling you. You got the heartfelt stories. You have the drama. You have some chase. We at least see a lot of chase. We see it all. And I think that Pablo has been the leader in giving us a pathway and being this networking with the whole chasing situation. And the fruit of it was AO saying, hey, I'm using people from that networking event that Pablo had. That was a clear path right there. He initiated the initiatives and got the ball rolling. I don't think a lot of people reached out and grabbed onto it, though. The tools are there. The tools are there, y'all. That's all I gotta say. I pray that this show is not canceled. Maybe I'm a little biased since I'm a Floridian, but hey, it is what it is, and I'm gonna root for my own and root abroad, but I'm definitely rooting for my own. So I'm hoping and praying that things get turned around. Hopefully there's some executive meetings. Hopefully there's just some clarification. Hopefully that there's a new energy that comes and really makes season 3 pop even more than season 2. You got a sponsorship for season 2. And I learned that that's a sponsorship that Marlo got. That helped influence them to get the sponsorship from the Pineapple Tree people. I ain't seen it on Dallas. I'm just starting to watch, so I don't know anything about Atlanta nor LA. And maybe I should get into it, and I'm going to watch the new season of Atlanta, but I just haven't seen anything prior to Orlando first season and then Dallas this last season. And now this season of Orlando. So that's it. But anyways, y'all, I'm praying because y'all got all the main ingredients. Marlo was able to turn this around, and I can say that that's a proud moment, and I can start to look at you differently than you just being this one-dimensional rah person that's not reasonable at all. So we shall see. So, Mr. Ondario, please don't give up on this franchise. Don't give up on this show. And y'all don't give up on it either, please. That's all I got, y'all. Y'all let me know in the comments what you thought. And I guess we out unless there is a reunion that's going to happen. But I hate that there isn't going to be one because there's too much stuff to be resolved. But anyways, thank you. Like this video, subscribe. Until the next one, peace.